Okay, so welcome everyone. Hi, Charlene. We see you. We see you over there. Thank you so much for coming on. We're going to start doing the mastermind calls again to reconnect and really kind of dive in so you can ask questions to each other, to myself. And today specifically, we're going to be talking about collaborations. Ultimately, for me, collaborations just really mean a strong relationship with another entrepreneur to expand my business in an intentional way. So for everyone, it might be a little bit different, but today I want to actually start with something we used to do a long time ago. I want everybody to spend a second, and instead of celebrating your own success, I want to go through and have you guys celebrate each other. So for example, I would say, you know, Jade, I love your commitment to your group. I've been watching you go live every single day and everybody's engaged, and I just wanted to spend a second and celebrate you today. And she'd be like, okay, yay. So Kim, who do you want to celebrate?
Well, I was going to say Jade, but you took her.
I took her. You can celebrate her.
I was going to say basically the same thing. I love her live videos. I watch her Insta stories all the time. She probably thinks I'm a little bit of a creeper because I watch them all the time. Oh, and sometimes I rewatch them to watch her makeup.
Ooh,
I love them. Absolutely love them.
Cool. Okay, Rhonda, who would you like to celebrate today?
I would like to celebrate Kim. She has been posting on my Facebook for me, and she's been doing my Instagram, and I look really amazing. My website is like, yeah, I'm just looking like, I'm looking really good. And it's all because of Kim and Chris. And yeah, it's just been really good.
Good. Thank you for sharing. Jade, are you there? I think she muted us. I'm not sure.
I'm here. I'm here. Oh. I can still hear you.
Oh, I'm like, I think she can hear. Who would you like to celebrate?
To celebrate?
Yeah.
Oh, I would like to celebrate that I discovered Tailwind and discovered how to schedule posts for my Instagram.
Ooh.
And so I've been scheduling 3 posts a day for the last few days, and I also researched hashtags a little more, so I've been getting a lot more engagement and a lot more followers from that.
That's awesome. And we were just saying that we love seeing your live videos. So is there someone in the call that you'd like to celebrate?
Well, I don't know. I've just been seeing a lot of great stuff. I really, really am loving Kim and Chris's Instagram feed lately.
Awesome.
Because it's just like, it's so well laid out, and the bright colors I just really love, and their Instagram stories often make me laugh because they're just kind of witty and fun. I don't know. Really love it. So good job, Kim.
Awesome. And Charlene, who would you like to celebrate today?
Oh man. I love all you ladies. Rhonda, I've been seeing you everywhere, so that's awesome. Jade, I know you and I talked, but I think I go back to Kim too. Kim, you are doing it right. You are posting for people.
You guys are making me blush.
But I think probably the biggest thing, Kim, I just read your post like literally a few minutes ago about hiring for help. Like hiring when you know you need help, whether or not you want to manage it. And I think that's the gift that you're giving off to everybody, is that you have taken that very specific element that all of us know we need in our business, and you're providing that service. You and Chris. I mean, let's face it, both like you guys come as a duo, but we're celebrating you. And I think the beauty of it is, you know, I have a decent idea of how many people you are doing social media for, and those are the people that I see like all the time, and watching your feed, it is definitely something to be mirrored. Like I take a look at it when I talk, you know, look at my feed, I'm like, I gotta be doing it like Draco.
Oh, you guys just made me so happy.
I gotta be doing it like Draco. So maybe Draco just needs
that should be our new hashtag.
Should we do a hashtag doing it like Draco?
Doing it like Draco.
I might be writing that down.
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much. That's a good one. Just make sure there's no like weird, creepy people that are gonna follow that one. So I really, really want to celebrate every single person in the Academy right now. You guys have been so committed the last few weeks. I know that this is, the last 12 weeks is kind of the hardest time because you realize that you either have to push through or not. So I just wanted to celebrate all of you for kind of pushing through without burnout, without, going into a place where you get angry. All of you are very, very positive, and I admire that. And that is tested in business, right? Like your positivity is tested every single day. If you want to do the best personal development, become an entrepreneur, right? If you want to learn, if you want to grow your soul, your spirit, your business, your mind, your bank, become an entrepreneur because it's going to flex you. And you guys have all expanded so much in the last few weeks, and I'm so thankful that I get to be part of your journey. So I really do want to celebrate every single one of you. You're all also finding your own unique path despite being guided by the same people, which I think is really cool. You're all doing unique things, even though you're being part of one, an academy, which if you've watched other academies or other events, people tend to kind of start doing the same thing. So I value that. And I'm excited about today's workshop because collaboration is an opportunity to really step into your own unique zone of genius. So a little bit of housekeeping. The intensive is October 26th and 27th in Banff. And Banff is in Canada. I think Rhonda, maybe everybody else. Banff is in Canada. It's beautiful. You would fly into YYC, but you might also want to fly in somewhere different if somebody else is coming from a different place. I think that you will have to kind of look at that closer to the date. But Banff is October 26th, 27th. It's at the Fairmont. It's beautiful. It's stunning. It's all those good things. You can take a look at our pictures from last year. I'll start posting them soon to kind of gear up and get excited. It's stunning. It's incredible. And it's one of the best customer service experiences we've ever had in hotels. The gala tickets will go on sale early August. And there's something else that's not here, but I should have written it down. We are opening up our very first Hello Life Academy Awards. Starting, I think we're going to get it up in July. So you'll actually have to be nominated for an award, and then we announce the winners at the gala. So it's going to be super fun, exciting, and then, just more recognition for you guys. So you'll be able to put on your websites, winner of this awesome award. We don't have our awards named yet, but we will. Okay, so collaborations. What's the first thing that comes up when you hear that word?
Working with others.
And helping others.
Working with others. Brings me back to like kindergarten or grade 1.
Helping promote each other's businesses.
Yes.
And just leveraging each other's audiences, which is awesome.
Okay, I love that Jade just say that, because what is a collaboration? It is using without using someone else's audience and their skills to enhance your own skills as well. So it's a win-win situation. It's a strong relationship where I collaborate with Rhonda, and we both do an interview series about mental health as an entrepreneur and how it's impacted all that stuff. So it's any kind of relationship that is going to move your business forward. In this sense. So if I partner with Shaolin and she talks about me every week and I talk about her every week, we have now collaborated and brought our audiences together so that if they need her services, great. If they need mine, great. So we're going to go through some other things too, like how do you do that? What's a win-win? How do you kind of work through some of the kinks as well? So I always say this, and I'm going to ask you again. I'm going to have to mute somebody. I think it's Jade.
That's Jade.
Yeah, got it. I think she's in her yard. So when you think of your business and when you think of a potential collaboration, you should always ask yourself this. This question should come up repeatedly. You should get it tattooed on your body. What problem are you solving in your business, with your business? So is it, mental health issues? Is it that entrepreneurs don't have enough time, so they need to work with someone for social media? Is it that you solve a problem of confidence, self-esteem? Is it that you solve a lack of community? You want to bring people together, Shalin. This is your community. You want to take the pressure off entrepreneurs of hosting their own events, and you do it for them and with them. So ask yourself what problem you solve. Now, if you know what problem you solve and you're very clear on it, when you go to bring in a collaboration, or if somebody reaches out to you for a collaboration, there's a lot of clarity around it. So would it make sense if I partnered with someone who was 100% all about men? Not at all, right? Because it doesn't help me with my problem solving skills as an entrepreneur, and it also wouldn't help them to come into my audience. So if you're very clear on the problem that you solve, and you're very clear on your target market and who you're trying to help, when you look to expand and to reach out to someone for a collaboration, do you have a parallel target market? So ask yourself what problem you solve. And then the second piece of that is, does the person that I'm hoping to collaborate with have a parallel target market? So for me, that could be a hair salon. That could be a event planner, right? That could be so many things. So ask yourself and write it down. What problem are you solving, and who has a parallel target market to you? I also find this really helps because then you kind of step away from your own business. You know how sometimes we get in our heads with our business? Step away from your business and look at it and say, who else has a target market very similar to mine? And then you open up the doors and you're like, oh my gosh, this person, I need to connect with these people because I can solve their problem for them. So does your ideal client want to take part and watch your collaborations? So we're talking back about the target market. Your target market, would they be interested in a collaboration? Would they get excited about it? I believe yes. I believe collaborations are the key. Oh, I gotta cut this right there. Oh, check the chat, just quick. Just a brainwave. Oh, okay. So I'm gonna go back to this slide because I want to kind of expand on this a little bit. And I might have had another slide, but I want to talk about it right now. So collaborations, when you start working with other people, I built my entire business, my entire first business with the studio based on collaborations. I reached out to people in the town to have their soaps in my studio. I reached out to people who were postpartum doulas. I reached out to Mommy Connections and did classes there for free, which seemed like, oh my gosh, this is never going to work. And then those people became clients for business coaching eventually. So every single connection, collaboration, or relationship you start has a reason. It might not come to life right away, but it will. It'll be like, oh yeah, we met 6 years ago at that event and we sort of talked about this. And then, full circle, they now are opening a business, or now they're suffering from maybe anxiety and they need some gut health services and things like that. So would your ideal client get excited about a collaboration? The answer for everyone is yes. Because when your target market sees that you work with other people in a community and a positive way, they respond energetically and emotionally and all those things in a very positive way. I think, if you were to brainstorm some people and you saw them and you'd be like, oh, that's so cool that they interview this person or work with this person. They're community driven and everybody's in a business to solve a problem. And usually that has to do with people, unless you're working with pets, which is still about people too. So we'll talk a little bit more about that. But before you start a collaboration, I always encourage you guys to flex your collaboration muscle with each other first. Because you guys get it the best. You guys also have someone you can reach out to for support and say, how do I have this conversation with, is this even my computer cord? I think it is. How do I have this conversation with Shalin to begin this collaboration? Or Rhonda, I really want to reach out to Jade because I love her vibe, but I need some guidance and I need to understand. So you guys have each other. You also have 2016, 2017, 2017, and the upcoming 2018 people to collaborate with. I've even watched people in the Express begin to collaborate. I mean, I think Amanda and Lauren did a giveaway. Those are collaborations, right? you guys have an advantage because you're not just going to do a giveaway. You're gonna build a relationship online with the person you're collaborating with to make sales. Everything you do now, and should be with a collaboration, is to increase your list that will increase your sales, right? Unless you're doing a specific collaboration for charity. But even honestly, most charities happen for some sort of like, we're celebrating this is our charity, but there's some recognition that goes behind that, right? It is marketing in a way, which is not good or bad. It's just, it is what it is. So like golf tournaments for charities, right? You see who sponsors those. That's a collaboration, things like that. So when you're thinking about your collaboration, let's say Charlene and Kim are going to collaborate, what is the intention of the collaboration? And this is the first thing that you guys should both agree or disagree on quickly. So I reach out to Kim and I say, you know, I think our awards, the Hello Life Academy Awards, should be a collaboration with Draco. I think you've got clients, we've got clients, we should move this forward. If there's something that doesn't feel good for Kim, she's going to disagree and say, you know what, it's not the right time. My plate is full. Can we revisit this next year? So that's how you reject a collaboration in a very nice way. I'm not offended by that. Or does that feel like, did I offend anybody by that? Not at all. If it feels good for her, she would say, oh my gosh, yes. What do we want to achieve with this collaboration? And she would say, we want to recognize our clients. We also want to build our list. I want to do the same thing. Let's move forward. Let's move forward with meeting in person, all those things. So what's the intention of the collaboration? What problem is your collaboration solving? Because if there's no problem, there's no business, right? Every idea should solve a problem. So someone needs this, whatever. What results do we both want? And potentially this is like a 10-person collaboration. So then you'd have to sit down and say, what do we all want? And I would say start small, start with 1 or 2 people. But what results do we both want? So Charlene's result is she wants to get visibility. She wants to gain visibility and she wants 100 new people on her list. So she's very specific with what the collaboration, what result she wants. Does it mean she's going to get 100 people? Maybe not. Does it mean she might get 10? Yes. But she knows the result that she wants to get. It might just take the second collaboration or third collaboration. So if you can get really clear, there's a lot of clarity that has to happen with collaborations. I've seen it repeatedly where both parties are not clear and the collaboration does not work, or it just drops off the face of the earth. And then you're like, where did those 2 people go that were like working together for a little bit? What is a win-win for both parties? A win-win is very important. This does not mean that Kim gets all the benefit and I just kind of sorta, or Charlene gets all the people on her list and I get nobody. It has to feel good. And you will know the minute it does not feel good. And then you'll have to revisit and say, what is the win-win? Now this takes clarity. If you get 10 people on your list, Kim also gets 10 people on her list. That's a win-win. If you're truly collaborating, it does have to be 100% and 100%. Or you make the decision in this number 2 that the result is, Kim, I want you to be 80% of this collaboration and I want to be 20%. So Kim, I want you to pay for 80%. I want you to host the event 80%. I want you to do 80% of the work. I'll do 20%. Let's figure that out and then let's move it forward. So it has to be a win-win, but there has to be clarity, or else it's just like, oh my gosh, what's happening? Where am I going? Who's doing what, right? And then it doesn't work and you've invested all that time and energy and quite honestly, emotions, right? Because when you're connecting with someone and building a relationship with someone for a collaboration, a lot of your emotion goes involved because you share secrets, you share your hardships and oh, this is so fun and exciting. And then number 4, this one I kind of just covered, but what are the defined responsibilities for each person? This is where I love collaborations for this exact reason. When you collaborate with people, you really truly get to put your CEO hat on and discover where your strengths and where your weaknesses are. where you need to delegate, and where you need to lead. A great collaboration is going to have a little bit of both. I'm really good in front of people. Maybe you're not. Why don't you do the blogs and the writing and things like that? You're really great, at building a deck. I'm really good at selling a deck. I can't build a deck, but this is where you really discover your strengths, your weaknesses, and you own both of those. You say, I'm totally okay with not being the person who's going to talk to the hotels or coordinate that stuff, right? So defined responsibilities is putting together a job description for your collaborations. Now, when you go to collaborate with someone with the Academy, because I always encourage you to do this together first, you would say, okay, Rhonda, what is it that you truly want to do with this collaboration? And Rhonda would say, I want to travel. I'm going to host the events. I'm going to talk to the people. Can you, create the landing page and run a Facebook ad and drive people to that? Yes, I can. Those are my strengths. But if you say, hey, you know what? I want you to go in front of a stage of 20,000 people. And you're like, okay, I'll do that because that's what a collaboration is. If that is your weakness, you and your partner in collaboration have just set up your collaboration for failure. So it needs to be defined. It needs to be a win-win. You need to organically let your collaboration and relationship grow. Because I know my strengths and weaknesses, but my very first few collaborations, I didn't. I was like, oh yeah, this is fine. I'll do this. And I was like, I suck at this. Or you're really bad at this too. So it has to evolve and grow, and it has to be defined. When you define your responsibilities, think about a job. What is that person doing? What are the 10 core responsibilities of that person? And what are your 10? And you'll get there. You'll figure it out. So steps to begin. Step 1 to building a collaboration. Let's say, Rhonda wants to collaborate with Charlene. But Rhonda hasn't really been paying a whole lot of attention to Charlene because she's been busy. She lives across the world from her, etc. She's going to start, if she really, really sees like an opportunity there, a win-win, she should start participating in what Charlene is doing. And by participating, I mean showing up for her lives, commenting on her lives, engaging on her blog posts. So it is exactly like dating. I love this because the first step of a collaboration is, I really like your blog. Like, I really love what you're putting out there. And then you keep watching them. And some people date and it's a first love at first sight. And other people, it's like, let's see how this feels. I'm going to show up for more of your stuff. Now, here's why this one is so important. I've had people ask if I'll collaborate with them. And then I say, well, do you know what we do? And they're like, no. Well, that's weird. How can I support you and how can you support me if we do not understand each other's personalities or businesses? But if somebody comes to me and says, I loved what you did in Banff last year where you wore a red dress and everybody else wore black. That was really cool. Can you tell me where you got that idea? That's like dating, right? Someone shows an interest in what you did. So when you're doing this online, it's the exact same thing. And this is where we go through and we say there's no funnel to a collaboration. It's old school relationship and building. And how you do that online is by showing up and participating for what that other person does. So if you have to invest $50 to buy a ticket to their event to see if they really truly are authentic and they fit your parallel target market, do it. It'll save you thousands potentially later. And I have said this to so many people. I'm like, you know what? If you even want to think about collaborating, you can quote me on this. I say, if you want to collaborate with me, buy my shit. Because I support people who support me, and if it's a win-win, it'll be great. I mean, you guys can look at everybody in the Academy, right? Like, we collaborate with in some capacity. We talk about, you guys talk about us because it feels good. We know each other. So this piece, if I did not know what Jade offered or what Charlene offered, how could I collaborate with her? So I've got to pay attention. So one of the things we did, I had a dinner meeting last night with a client, and I said, here's how we're going to start even before you start the Academy. You're going to find 3 bloggers You're going to find 3 blogs that you're interested in. And you're going to start watching what they do and commenting on them, just to start. So all of you today, this is exactly what I want you to do. I want you to find 3 people in the academy or maybe outside that you're looking and you're saying, even if they're like Oprah, I want you to do this. Holy crap, I love what you're doing. Like, that's it. Like, just give them a compliment. How we started today's call was by celebrating someone else. And often it is way easier to celebrate someone else. So this is your opportunity to take yourself out of the business and put on your feelings hat. Remember, CEO hat, feelings hat. So now I'm my feelings hat, and I am like, this is great. Your blog's amazing. How do you organize your Instagram? Compliments go a long way online. You want to make sales? Give people compliments. Pay attention to what they do. Oh, you know what? I've really noticed that you have stepped up your Instagram game. What are you doing? You know, like, I'm curious. And then that opens up a conversation, because they're not saying, hey, I think you need my product, or hey, do you want to just collaborate right away? So I'm going to give you guys an action item, and it's going to be pretty powerful. Find 3 people that you like. Find 3 people that you aspire to like. Find out how they're doing what they're doing in some capacity. And you never know what's going to happen. It's the beginning of the dating. Step 2, if you date them in that first step, if you're like, I like it, they like you, it seems good, you start getting some good ideas for collaborations, like, oh, I'd love to host an event with her. That sounds cool. Got somebody else. There. You're like, this sounds good, this feels good. I want you to schedule a real meeting. So this can be a Zoom meeting, but if you can meet in person, even better, but sometimes that's not possible, obviously. So schedule a conversation with them. This is before that collaboration happens. This is before the discussion of what's a win-win happens. It's just to see if you can take it further. Do they have great communication skills, or are you going to struggle? Do they want to lead the project themselves, and you discover after meeting in person that that's really what they want? They want to do it all themselves. They're really just looking for maybe some gold stars, which is okay. But when you get to meet someone, and when you get to have a discussion over Zoom or over the phone, you discover what's going on. You might even realize when you get on the phone with someone, and this is not, I mean, I have done this, so this is not bad, but you might discover they have 6 kids in the back, and you can't work with them. It's not them, it's not you, it's just, that's not how you work. So this meet and greet is very important, because you might also get on that call and realize that they are the bee's knees, and this has to move forward. You will feel it. You'll be like, I need this person to collaborate with me. This is exciting. Can we do this? And you'll do it. And then there's just a picture of fun, you know, I don't know who that is, but that was a water break, I think. Okay. So some ideas of collaborations that have worked, and the sky is the limit. So please don't look at this list and say, yes, this is it. This is what I got to do. Podcasts, right? So if Rhonda starts a podcast and then she collaborates with Charlene, Kim, Jade, Lindsay, Christina, Patricia, Nadine, she has a year's full of guests. A year is full of guests to communicate with, and also a year full of people to share her podcast, because she will say a requirement to do this, a win-win, is you share my podcast to your email list and to your Facebook group. And there you go. You have a collaboration between, 50 other women instantly. If they don't share it, they don't get to be a guest on your podcast, all those things. You could even create a really great, when we go back to our things, what are the defined responsibilities? Well, you're responsible for posting about the podcast before it's released, posting about it once when it is released, and then once you met 3 days after. When you give someone direction like that and you're like, here are your 3 things to do, they're going to do it. But when you say, I have a podcast, I want you to be a guest, here's a link to schedule a call. They're going to forget. They're not going to know when to post it. You're going to spend so much energy doing that great call with them and that great interview about, maybe they've suffered from addictions. Maybe your whole podcast is addictions related, to empower people through their addictions. And then you realize that those people aren't sharing it. So now you've put so much energy into this collaboration, but you weren't clear on the defined roles. So it's nobody's fault. It's that your CEO self hasn't been clear with them and said, here's what we're doing. Interview series. I don't really love interview series anymore, but that just might be me. I'm like, gotta love, hate. Sometimes I love them, sometimes I don't. You have to have really great people on there, people with like lots of personality and humor, I think. But, you do what you got to do. If you love interviewing people, this is good. Charity events. So I talked about golf tournaments. Maybe you want to do like a small tea party or a small, mini putt party or a small race around the pond for a certain charity that you feel really passionate about. You would collaborate with multiple services and multiple coffee shops and things like that in the community. So that's one idea that I have done before in Airdrie. Yoga and wine. Think about who would have ever thought 10 years ago that yoga and wine events would be so popular, right? Or goat and wine, or no, goats and yoga, goat yoga. That was not a thing, right? And now it is a thing because one person probably sat down with another and said, let's do this together. That's a great idea. Let's bring, animals into yoga. So if it sounds crazy, do it. If it sounds different, push it forward. Let yourself have some glasses of Prosecco or champagne or tea with someone and brainstorm some fun ideas. Collaborations, create expansion. Even if the collaboration doesn't follow through, just sitting around with people talking about some ideas is so great. Hair and makeup party. If you're in the hair industry, why not collaborate with a makeup artist to come in and do 5 people for free to build both of your lists, right? You're not giving away your services. You're collaborating as an opt-in opportunity, right? Oils and house cleaners. I've watched my, multiple cleaning staff that we've worked with now partner and collaborate with people who sell essential oils. Okay, yeah, I'll always ship them to you because they're like, I don't want to do it. And they do it and they work through that. And now I have essential oils being used all over my house, right? So that's a collaboration that someone one day approached a cleaning company and said, I want to use oils. You should get rid of your chemicals. Let's do this. And they said, you know what? Why not? Let's stand out. So collaborations, again, you're going to feel kind of crazy when you first think of it. And then you're going to say, this is a good idea. Retreats are a great opportunity for collaborations because you can both bring your audiences. Instead of selling to 100 people, maybe you're selling to 200 people. And then you get 10 people to sign up for that retreat. But remember, please be clear on the problem you solve. What is the problem you're solving with that event? What is the problem you're solving with an oil and house cleaner collaboration? Chemicals, right? Smell, allergies. They're solving a bigger problem. They're also saving each other money. The house cleaner doesn't have to buy chemicals. She's using oils. She only has to use a few oils instead of constantly filling up her bucket full of cleaners, right? Yoga and wine, what problem are you solving? What do you think the problem that people, when they saw, let's do yoga and wine together, what problem were they solving? Anybody?
Exercise and having fun and relaxing.
Yeah.
Lifestyle.
And probably a little bit of releasing the fear of yoga for some people. Right? I do wine, but yoga, oh my gosh, you're going to touch my toes. So they solved the problem of making yoga a little bit more accessible and fun. I mean, yoga is fun, but for a lot of people, the mind is, yoga sounds lame, right? What do you think the problem somebody's solving if they partner with a hair and makeup person?
Teaching me how to do it like a pro.
That's right. Yeah. You're making people more comfortable with their own hair and makeup. And it might sound like a ridiculous problem to solve, but it is a problem. It's a problem for a lot of people. They get anxious about it. They're like, I don't know how to do my makeup. I don't know what to do, right? So here's a really good one that I think Rhonda and I already appreciate it. Somebody started a blow dry studio, right? And now it's like, I want to open a franchise in Airdrie. I'm like, I want to open a blow bar in Airdrie. Because
my sister is opening one in Australia.
Is she? Oh,
yeah, and she's a makeup artist, and so she's going to open a blow dry bar.
So who would have thought, though, that solves a real problem? Well, a lot of really successful people did. And at first, they probably got questioned by everyone around them. What are you going to do? You're going to collaborate with a blow dryer or a hairdresser and do, just wash and dry? Yes, I am. So if you have an idea for a collaboration, let it happen. Let your mind go there. Let your body feel it. Be excited, because it's going to go somewhere that it needs to go, right? So these examples that I have, they're pretty standard right now. They're pretty, here's a good start. Now take it and say, why can't I do this? Why couldn't I host this event with this person? So have so much fun with it. Think of collaborations, the other action item that I'm having you do. So one is make sure you look at blogs, and I want you to start that relationship with people. Or reach out to some of the Academy members and do a group call like this together and be like, what do you guys got? Let's brainstorm, right? You can spend 15 minutes, and those 15 minutes might create your next big idea for collaboration. So think of some collaborations that you've seen year after year that have worked. So this one is to spark, again, some creativity, not to say, I want to do it exactly like this. But some that come up for me is I have seen repeatedly, okay, give me an example. I had one and then I lost it. It was at the top of my head. Some collaborations. Anybody see any that are happening online?
I can tell you one that I'm planning with a friend.
Ooh, let's do it.
Yeah, so she's a photographer in town here, and she does some of my photography. And she's also building a photography studio right now. And once it's done, we're going to do a series of, I'm not exactly what we're going to call it yet, but I'm going to do makeup, and then she'll do a photo shoot, and we'll do like a package deal just to help women, feel more confident and beautiful for the afternoon, have some like glamour shots.
I love it.
Of them? Yeah.
And that reminds me too. So that's one. And then there's someone in town that collaborates with photographers and makeup artists to do boudoir shoots. Like, yes. That's the thing. So then I'm thinking Marie Forleo collaborates with Danielle Laporte a lot, right? They do a lot. Gabrielle Bernstein and Marie Forleo. A lot. So just go online and look and think like, okay, these people didn't just do it once or twice. They've been doing it for years, and clearly it's working, right? Clearly that collaboration that they're doing is moving their businesses forward, or they wouldn't do it, right? So how can your collaborations help serve your clients more? Again, make sure you're really clear on the problem you're solving. And then I'm just going to add some sort of the what not to do piece of this. So we don't want you to give away your services for free, because that's not a win-win, right? So if you're collaborating with someone, they do have to offer you something that is a win-win. For example, is it money? Is it, you know what, let's each go $500 into this collaboration? Or is it, well, you have 100 people on your list, I have 100 people on my list. That seems and feels good. So that I have seen in the past, I've had clients that I've had to like not slap, but spank. I don't know. No, I haven't had, but I've had clients in the past where I've said, stop collaborating with every single person in town, because it comes back to this one. What is the intention, and do they really know what you're doing, or is that person trying to collaborate with every single person in town to expand their own business? So do you see how that would lose the win-win then? If I collaborate with every single makeup artist in town, Am I really showing my audience that I value and trust and love the one person that I should be collaborating with all the time? So you don't want to be a collaboration hooker. You want to be a little bit aware of who you're collaborating with and kind of minimize it. Be like, okay, I'm going to collaborate with 2 people every year. I'm going to find some new people. Trust me, like, I'll be honest, I've used probably a dozen photographers in Airdrie, but I never really collaborate with them. I always pay them because it's not a win-win. It's not a win-win to work with one photographer for my business anymore. So it's like, I'm going to expand. I'm going to put out a request for a proposal. I'm going to find somebody who I really feel is talented now. But maybe the first project I ever did, I did collaborate. I said, I'll give you my program if you take some pictures of me. That's a swap of services. It's a very win-win. I'll use your photos. I'll talk about you. You get to do my program. But please be aware of who you're collaborating with. And that's back to the courting and the dating. You can't date 20 people at a time. That would be exhausting, right? Maybe a little fun at times, but it would be kind of exhausting. So, I think the dog's still outside. Did you guys hear a little? I hope I didn't leave it outside. Connie's going to be like, you let my dogs outside. Oh, I did. Whoops. There they are. So when you're kind of looking at this in terms of a process, ask yourself, what problem do you solve? What ideas do you have for a collaboration? Who will actually sign up for the collaboration? Who do you want to sign up? And how will you really evaluate when it works and when it doesn't? So this would be, is it still working or should we stop? And this is something that you can connect with the person with before the collaboration starts, right? You say, how can we measure if it's working? And when do we know if it's still feeling good? So let's make measurable marks. If we get 10 people, it's working. If we don't get any bites, that means it's not working. Let's end the collaboration mutually, nothing crazy. But it has to be discussed. And this is, again, the time when you get to you get to be your boss. You get to be the boss again. And you say, well, no, we really need to discuss this. It's probably not going to feel overly good if it's not working, but we have to do it. Let's put it on our calendar for August 30th and then decide if we should do it or not. So is it fun though? Like maybe it's not about numbers and maybe you've had a blast hosting this event every single year with the same person and it doesn't really grow your list and it doesn't really make sales, but it fills your cup. So not everything has to be like, here you go, but generally if I'm investing my busy time into something, I have to see in my business an ROI. And I think you all want to do that as well, right? If you're going to do something, if you're going to invest money and time and effort and energy, you want to make sure that something is growing, that there's a power of growth happening. I'm just going to check the chat quickly. Oh, you guys are talking to each other. I love you guys. Okay, that's good. So how do you sell how to sell, this is the sentence, just pretend like you don't see it. So how do you collaborate with a stranger? You find someone with a parallel target market. You watch them for a while. You've got your eyes on them, right? You're like, ooh, I like what she's doing. And then you present them with an idea. This one. I want you to try to do this outside. So I want, within the academy, I want you guys to be like, let's brainstorm and let's come up with some rock star collaborations. Outside of the academy, I want you to have one idea that you put out there to someone because I want you to learn how to communicate very clearly your ideas. This is an area that we all struggle with because we're like, oh, I don't know. If you don't know and that person is busy, what do you think their response is going to be to collaborate with you? Present me with an idea and I will likely move it forward. Present me with thoughts. I'm not going to do anything with it. I'm going to wait till you figure it out. This is how most people are like, you know what? I love this. This is great. But when you're ready, come back to me with a proposal for a collaboration and tell me what the win-win's going to be. So this is like you owning your idea and saying, I love this. I want to do this. Will you be part of this? I'm starting a podcast. It's, a monthly episode with women entrepreneurs from all around the world, but we're specifically talking about addictions every month. If you don't have an addiction or you've never suffered from an addiction, you're not the person. So you being very clear is good. It's just like your target market. So be clear, set goals, measure the success. This should kind of be the motto for everything we're doing in our business. Be clear about what you're doing, set the goals, allow some flexibility, because we all know, like, sometimes it's good to exceed your goals. Sometimes it's good to not hit them because you learn so much. Fears. When you're collaborating, oh my gosh, these are my fears. I don't work well with others is something that I used to say all the time to myself. For years I said this because I used to work with men only in IT. And I would be like, I can't work well with them. Like, I just don't do it. I'm too shy for a collaboration. What if it doesn't work? Well, what if it does work? What if it's like that open door to your like magical space that you're like, holy smokes, I've been waiting for this for years. And what are the real risks? So when you start telling yourself, well, I don't know about this, ask yourself, what is the risk? Okay, so I invest $300 and 20 hours. Is that a real risk? Not really. Maybe you get to meet your new biz bestie, or you get to meet 100 people from that, or you get to, it gets you one step closer to your next thing. Everything is a stepping stone. So ask yourself, what is the real risk? And what if it did work? What if this collaboration did work? What could happen? Now, this is that expansion piece. Imagine if it did work. Imagine if, the greatest thing, that podcast ended up in Forbes and New York Times and actually, helped save 20 people's lives because they listened to your podcast over the last 10 years. So what if it did work? That's how you overcome your fear. You constantly remind yourself, what if this does work? What if this relationship and this collaboration does work, right? And you go back to dating. Some people are afraid to date, and then they do, and it's like, oh man, this wasn't so bad. I ended up getting married and I have 6 kids now. So think about this, and then really start to brainstorm amongst each other with some collaborations. I've seen podcast interview series. I've seen Christina and Lindsay collaborate and bring their entire businesses together for fitness and bariatric coaching. I've seen Lisa and Patricia. They're going to do a numbers retreat and an event together. I've watched people, there's just so many ideas. Books, you could write a book together if you really wanted to. So let's open it up for questions and conversation and see what's going on in your minds. Nope.
You're muted. Press command. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Kim's like, yeah, I can hear you. Okay, so challenge, and I was actually just like thinking of one in particular, but collaborations from an event planning. I'm starting to think outside the box a little bit, but when it comes to the tangibles of those, does anybody have any suggestions, or what are some ideas? Because so it's a service based for like my thing is always, I provide a service, I host an event. Obviously people see that event, but does any future business come from it? I take that back, and sometimes, well, that's maybe my posting problem and this, that, and the other. But when it comes to things like a true collaboration, what would be the flip side to the coin for me? And if it's not financial, if it's not guaranteed income clientele, would it be email list? Would it be?
Well, I think
that right? Is that making sense?
A little bit. I need a little bit more clarity, I think. So you're asking, what is the tangible for you to collaborate with someone?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say you collaborate with Rhonda.
Yeah.
What would that look like? What kind of ideas come to mind?
Well, Rhonda now has a very focused, very specific target market, clientele, customer service. So I would take a look at Rhonda and I'd look and say, if I was, what problem can we solve? She's now got a massive and a global or even, North American clientele base. How is she serving? She's serving those from a live event, from an in-person perspective. She's doing her online, she's doing her Facebook lives. They're all amazing. Clearly people are responding to her. How does Rhonda either say, A, thank you to the people that she is working with and, appreciate those clients that she has, or B, what's her next step in actually saying, oh my gosh, because now these clients would probably want to be in the same room as Rhonda so that they can pull that information from her head live and in person. So that's something that I can offer. We can take a look at what that looks like, where it is, what the
so Charlene, that's not a collaboration
though. That's not a collaboration.
That's Rhonda hiring you.
So where my problem comes in is I don't know from a service perspective what collaboration truly looks like.
So for you, something like that would be kind of with that when you were interviewing women, right? So you showcasing the women that you're working with is a win-win collaboration because you invest the time to show them and they should invest the time to showcase your upcoming events. So let's say, for example, you talk to Rhonda and you guys do a blog post together, or you do a blog once a month about an entrepreneur that you've worked with. So you do like a feature thing. So you celebrate Rhonda and you say, hey, Rhonda, like I'm writing this blog post about you. Do you have a short audio that I can put in there about your product? And I'm going to ask you to share the blog post in your email and on your Facebook page. So that's a collaboration. That's an expansion of list building for both of you, which will take a half hour for each of you. It's not going to take, 20 hours of work or host a live event, but eventually then Rhonda can come to you and say, oh, I've watched your, I've been reading your monthly blog series. It's pretty cool. You've been consistent with it. Do you do you do events, right? So and then she's like, yes, I do events. So you take the courting from the collaboration and move it to an exchange of services, like a buying of service. So you have to think about that. The problem that solves is people need to know that you work with other people. People need to know that you don't only do that one thing, right?
Okay.
So for Rhonda, you're offering a win-win because she gets a little bit of exposure or PR. And your win is that you've now reached people in Rhonda's community in Reno and Wisconsin. Minnesota? Is Wisconsin or Minnesota?
Wisconsin.
Oh, sorry.
Minnesota next door.
Okay. Is Canada in Canada? Just kidding. So that's a win-win. It's not a crazy collaboration. It's not like an intense thing. It's just that's the collaboration. If Rhonda was to hire you to host a golf charity event, she's hiring you. It's not a collaboration. So the answer for the collaboration doesn't have to happen now, but that's where the shift is a little bit. It's like, how can I serve the people that I want to hire me? You want Rhonda to hire you. You want Jade to hire you. You want me to hire you. How can you serve me? You can give me exposure.
Okay.
So there's so many different ways, but
yeah. No, that makes sense.
So I think that the collaboration too, for all of you, it would be fun for you guys to get together and think about those ideas. Like, okay, how can I do that? And then because here's the other thing too. When you brainstorm together, you're not offering advice to one another. You're truly brainstorming. When we start to offer advice, like if I were to say, Rhonda, here's what I think you should do, the ideas stop, and now she feels like you're helping her in a brainstorm session. Nobody wants to be helped. They want ideas. They want that fire. They want that, oh, that's cool. Like you just sparked something. So when you guys do brainstorm, remember that I don't want to offer Kim or Jade or Rhonda or Charlene or Lindsay advice. I want to stir up some creative cells. I want to get that creativity going. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So what I was thinking, so I got interrupted with a few calls that I had to take, but my business is crazy. So when I was thinking collaboration, like I was thinking, I put out there, do you guys have any suggestions of who I could collaborate with? Because yeah, I can collaborate with all you guys, but I'm thinking outside of the circle, you know, outside of AJLA. So would I go to a group of moms that all have ADD kids that we want to get them together in a room and share, you know, what kind of food do you feed them? What are you doing with their, you know, their diet, their exercise? And yeah, I know that my products can help their children. So I keep thinking it would have to be like a thyroid group, or which I could do online, you know, the kids group. I guess we could even do a kids group online. I just keep thinking everything would almost have to be online, because I don't feel like I could, but I feel like I'm selling to them then too. But I would maybe bring in other like-minded professionals that can help add more value to these people. I'm just like, I'm sorry.
No, that's great. I love that. I love where you're going with this, because it's creating those flows of like, okay, you know, what's my intention? My intention is to help moms who have children with ADHD, right? So what result do we both want? We both want that child to live a less stressful, less high energy life, right? You'd have to probably word that a little bit differently. What is the win-win for the mom and you to host this online pop-up event? It's to expose all these different moms with another resource. Will you sell? You'll have to decide, because that's the intention that you have to set. Do you really want to sell to that group, or do you want exposure? Do you want visibility? Do you want to build your list, or do you want to sell? So when you set the intention, when you reach out to the moms and you say, my intention of the group is to sell my product, you're open, you're honest, that's it. Or my intention is to just introduce you to different foods, and Amari or not, I want to help. Great. Both are very honest. But if you are not honest, then the ick factor comes into that win-win collaboration, right?
Okay. And the help can be in so many different ways.
So many.
Yeah. Okay. I get it now. Okay. So I just I picture this. So I just have to keep going back to this, and that's going to help me figure out who I want to collaborate with.
That's right.
I could go and collaborate with, assisted living centers or memory care centers for people that have dementia. That, okay. So all right. I'm
going to bring, for example, just because I go to different events, and I think a lot of you have probably experienced this, somebody else is hosting a collaboration. Like, let's say, Rhonda, you're collaborating with a group of moms, like a local moms club. By me going to your event and I get to talk to people, they're going to say, what do you do? And I'm going to say, oh, I do this. So it's when we're not selling, think of it as influence or attraction, right? I don't have to sell a thing. It's just by hosting the event or showing up to the event, being there, more people see me. I'm not saying sit in the corner and don't do anything. I'm saying, here I am. And the more times I do things like that, if I do a monthly moms group for kids who suffer from ADHD, you bet your butt people are going to start knowing who I am. And then they're going to say, oh yeah, like she's got this great product too, if you want it. Right? She's not icky about it. She will offer it to you, but So when we're clear about the intention and we're clear about the result, that's great. But the mom who's hosting the group, you'll have to court her, right? You'll have to see, like, do you guys even like each other? Or is she like a crazy person? So back to the dating. Court, watch her, comment on her, see if your guys are really a good fit, and then approach her with a very clear idea.
Well, can I just say something on that?
Yeah.
I love the idea of, like, with helping children with ADHD, like, you want to bring as much value as you can to them. So if you can find people that, like, I don't have any children with ADHD, so I don't know all of the, I guess, services that would help, but, you know, someone who deals with, I guess, gut health or anything that you know will help or whatever, collaborate with someone like that to come in and give a little workshop at the moms group or something. And then, yeah, you can promote each other through that, because they have somewhere then that they can promote to their customers. Like, go to her. It's a very supportive, amazing moms group that you will get ongoing support. And you can promote them as, like, you know, this product or other service will help accelerate or, you know, add on to what the support you're getting here, you know? I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it totally makes sense. I'm getting a whole bunch of really great ideas. So this is awesome, you guys.
Yay.
Yeah, I think it has to be fun too. I mean, fun. With our, specifically, I would not recommend you to do this, but we did our magazine. We first started our magazine by featuring our clients. And then the second thing we did is we reached out and said, you know, we're doing 100 interviews, get in on this. Well, I now was introduced to 100 new people. That is not a collaboration. It was 100% an opt-in strategy. So there's got to be, you have to know your intention. You have to be very clear with the intention, and then brainstorm. So I think it's so fun, because for me, you know, fun is when I get to do a fashion show with Jamie and makeup. Like, is it really related to business? Not really, but does it kind of, like, was it a lot of fun? It was so much fun. And then people were like, oh, are you going to do another one? Oh, you know what? Maybe I should. And next time I do it, I'm going to sell my product. So then my intention shifted for my next event. So every time you do it, if you go in with an intention and you're very clear with it, you're going to get the result that you want. When I host a meetup and it's not around a launch, my intention is just exposure. When I host a meetup and it's right around the time of an opening of a cart, my intention is to get clients. I'm very clear. Everybody knows that. Done and done. Would I collaborate in the one where I want to get clients? Probably not. Would I collaborate with the one, you know, let's say next week? Yeah, probably, because it's visibility, it's fun. So if you're very clear and you know what you want, this comes down to clarity, you're going to get it and you're going to have fun with it. So if your idea is to have fun, if your intention is to have fun, that's okay too. But there's so many opportunities for collaborations. I mean, think back to the yoga and the wine and the goats, farmers and yoga people, you know, all of those things. So with that being said, you guys should brainstorm. You guys should set up a call or a group thing and brainstorm. I think I can leave this meeting and leave you guys in it. I'm not sure, but just have fun with this and let it expand, let it grow, and let it evolve. And you guys have an opportunity, because you guys all know about landing pages and things like that. So if you guys really wanted to sell a product with your collaboration, you could. You guys know, that, like, okay, let's do this. Let's spend 6 weeks. Like, let's build up the audience. Let's gear them up. Let's get them excited. Let's get them to a live event on Facebook, and let's sell them our collaboration, our retreat, our event, our this and that. So does that feel crazy? Are your juices flowing?
Yes. It feels awesome. It's going to take a little bit of work too to do this collaboration.
It is. And that's why start small, right? Like, you don't have to go and, like, do a whole thing. You could start, like, okay, this is what feels good. And if you've already tested out the collaboration waters, look back and do some reflecting and think about what worked and what didn't. Did you make it hard? because I often see people and it looks hard. The collaboration looks hard. So was it hard? Did you like being on the phone? Did you like interviewing people, or did you hate it? Would you have preferred doing audios versus videos? Would you have liked to have a live event or a Facebook event? So if you've already kind of done it before, a large part of moving your next collaboration forward is reflection. It's like fitness, right? You know what? It wasn't for me, but what did work? What didn't work? So give it some thought and have some fun and get your juices flowing. I love it. I love, like, the summer for me is a really good time to walk and to think and to be like, what do I really want to do? Every summer, it's like, and then I always come up with like a really great idea, and then the team goes, oh shit. But they're good. So I have a call in just a few short minutes, but I'm so thankful that you guys showed up. Have this conversation in the group. Remember that, you guys are always going to have new people to collaborate with too in the academy. So there's always people who are like looking for an opportunity to expand. Make sure it's a win-win. You have a list. I have a list. Let's build those lists, mofos.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks.